Lollipop Chainsaw is an unconventional game made by two very unconventional men, Suda51 and James Gunn, making a game that was aesthetically Powerpuff Girls meets Dawn of the Dead, with gore from an 80s zombies film, the demeanor of a teen rom-com, and the visual flair of that crazy girl that loves unicorns and Scott Pilgrim. Mix them together, and that's how you get the original Lollipop Chainsaw. Lollipop Chainsaw's Juliet Sterling, the lollipop eating, chainsaw using cheerleader. She was the inspiration for James Gunn's live action version of Harley Quinn. Specifically, one scene. The original Lollipop Chainsaw was developed by Grasshopper Studios. You know, the guys that made No More Heroes and Killer 7. They decided to get into contact with James Gunn to make a game, with Suda51 designing the gameplay and James Gunn writing the story and fleshing out all the lore and characters. Why would James Gunn do this? Well, James Gunn is a gamer, and he also is really into old horror cinema. That's why there's so many references throughout the game. He was also directing the voice actors, recording the lines, writing all the extra dialogue, letting actors riff lines.
Gonorrhea! Gonorrhea face! Gonorrhea! You've got gonorrhea face!
That they thought were funnier and were more comfortable with, or what they thought their characters would say. Honestly, the success of this game is not something I want to give to Suda51. I mean, if you call this success, because the guy who made the good live action version of Suicide Squad and the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, Peacemaker, he's the reason why Lollipop Chainsaw is so good. Oh wait, he didn't really make those movies yet. He was a great filmmaker beforehand. That's kind of why Suda51 approached him in the first place. At this point, he was making some of my favorite movies of the early 2000s. Films like Super, the Rainn Wilson dark comedy, whereas a man becomes a superhero after his wife leaves him for Kevin Bacon. Or what about Slither, one of the best campy but horrifying and fun horror films from the early 2000s. Honestly, Slither and Super have the perfect camp and horror tones to partner with Lollipop Chainsaw. Just stop watching his films around the time you get to Tromeo and Juliet. I actually can't show you a single frame of the film. Honestly, to go off on a little bit of a tangent, James Gunn is the superhero equivalent of Peter Jackson. Yes, Peter Jackson, the guy who made the Lord of the Rings films. Because he had a very similar career path to James Gunn, where he got his start making films like Meet the Feebles. And you'll have to look this up. Brain Dead? But you old movie heads will remember it as Dead Alive. Let's just say that their early movies were edgy as fuck. And they're fucking great. This is what makes the horror genre great in general. And James Gunn brought this energy to Lollipop Chainsaw. This is the attitude that they used to make Lollipop Chainsaw a cult classic.
Let's play!
The heart and soul of Lollipop Chainsaw is James Gunn's writing. Now, he did have help. This was his first time writing for a video game, so Matsushiro Yuki, a Grasshopper Manufacturer Incorporated employee, who has worked on a decent amount of video games. From what I've seen, that comes across as he only really helped or touched up on dialogue. Because listening to James Gunn talk about this game, he really loved writing for it, and this was his baby.
Well, it's huge, first of all. I mean, you write a screenplay and it's between, 90 and 120 pages. You write a video game script and it's like, this was on an Excel spreadsheet and it's like this big.
I ended up
wanting to write every single line in the game. And when Juliet gets kicked in the face, she's going to have one of 100 reactions, and all those 100 reactions were written by me. I mean, it's really something that I loved doing. And
so I have no problem saying everything good about Lollipop Chainsaw is from the vision and expertise that James Gunn brought to it.
You're supposed to be a professional actor, so this time could you perhaps do it in a way like someone with half a fucking clue would do it? Let's try that. Go ahead.
Asshole.
You play as Juliet Sterling, a high school cheerleader for San Romero High. She's a girl that loves Evil Dead and Legally Blonde. And let's not forget her boyfriend Nick. Today is Juliet's 18th birthday, and she's going to school to meet Nick while a zombie apocalypse starts to break out. Juliet has a very particular level of skills when dealing with zombies. That's because she has a secret. At least to Nick. She is a member of the very famous Sterling zombie killing family, and she has been trained in many ways in how to kill and decimate zombies. That's how she was able to save Nick. Well, sort of. Lollipop Chainsaw at its core is about the relationship between Juliet, a zombie hunting cheerleader, and Nick, her severed head souvenir that hangs at her waist specifically so we can get a lot of upskirt shots. Thanks again, James Gunn. This game's about their journey to stop this zombie invasion caused by their own classmate, Swan, who caused this invasion to get revenge against all of his classmates and the world as a whole, using a dark ritual and 5 dark purveyors. The dark purveyors being voiced by James Gunn's friends, or at least a lot of them were. I don't know if you recognize a few. Juliet and the rest of the Sterling family have to kill the dark purveyors and stop a zombie invasion before more than high school is infected. Now, if you've looked at the thumbnail or title of the video, you notice that I'm playing the Repop version, the remaster. Yeah, I know it's late in the video to talk about it, but there's some issues. Lots of issues. The remake has nothing to do with James Gunn or Suda51. That means it had nothing to do with Grasshopper Studios or even Warner Brothers to my knowledge. The remaster was made by Dragama Games, and this seems to be their first project ever. Which explains why animations are broken. There's now new glitches in the game that break it. Checkpoints that used to be in the game don't work. There's even an option that they don't tell you about, and this is a huge issue, that finishes all the QTEs for you. Now, that would be fine to have that option if you knew about it and weren't constantly checking through the options to make sure it was there. This is something you should opt into, not opt out of. This actually damages the gameplay further. One of the reasons why the game glitched out for me personally is that I couldn't finish the QTE and I T-posed. I was at the end of a level and had to restart the entire level again because there's no fucking checkpoints. That's how I found it in the options in the first place, because I needed to shut it off so I can complete the section. Then you got the censorship controversies. You have the mainstream gaming media not even wanting to review the fucking game because there's jiggling boobs and upskirt shots. Oh no! The mainstream media would rather promote games like Concord that have less players than I have subscribers. We could bump those numbers up, right? I'll shill for myself. But here's something I didn't expect to see in all this. There was people actively photoshopping censorship into the pictures. Some of this I can't find anymore, but I can tell you I was watching people move the chainsaw logos in front of the upskirts to fake censorship so people would get mad that they censored Lollipop Chainsaw. This might have actually damaged sales. And then there's the fact that because the remake is kind of trash, the jiggle physics weren't working. They have been fixed now, but people thought this was because of censorship, not because of the team's incompetence when remaking the game. I was also seeing people talk about the fact that there's removed content, which there is, but not for censorship's sake. It's because they couldn't get the rights to songs. Some of the voice lines just seem to be missing now. Here's one of them.
Jesus God! Get off me, you bastard! Oh shit! Don't let
Oh no! He crashed over by the school and is probably dead.
Now let me ask you, is that censorship? What there was edgy or raw or what? Now look, there's always a possibility I missed something, but you got a guy calling someone's legs retarded. And the only thing they did was they didn't subtitle it.
Yeah! Kill those stupid fucking retarded legs first!
You got guys talking about jerking off to her as she's saving their lives. If they're gonna censor anything, why wouldn't they censor those things? There's constant upskirt shots throughout this. Look at some of the outfits. There's so many people out there reframing this shit till the game was censored. And look, I understand that. I do not like the censorship problem, but come on. At least wait for it to come out before you get offended. I mean, for all the bad things I was talking about the development of the remaster, I do respect the fact that they did not censor Lollipop Chainsaw. On purpose. They were out there using words that people don't like using anymore, and I probably did censor them in my video because I am dodging a strike currently. Specifically for a video that, looks really bad. But I think Lollipop Chainsaw did the right thing by the fans, and the gaming community as a whole. And I prefer to reward people for doing shit I enjoy, like leaving the work as it was intended. This is an early 2010 game. Stop treating it like a 2024 fucking Sony flop. While the team has made lots and lots of mistakes recreating Lollipop Chainsaw, I mean, just look how poorly it runs. I'm on a 3080. You're telling me I can't run this shit? I do believe they had the right intent, trying to make a game as close as they could to the original. Honestly, at this point, I'm probably a sucker for anyone who's willing to stand up against the IGNs of the world and create the game that they want to make. But if you want to talk about the gameplay as a whole, that was caused by Suda51, and not the Repop devs. The biggest problem with the original is that the gameplay was designed by Suda51 and his team. It is a very, very basic hack and slash. The main gameplay loop is incredibly limited. It has the depth of a kiddie pool, utilizing Juliet's cheerleader jujitsu as weapons to kill the zombie hordes. Surprisingly, it's very effective to use your ass and pom-poms to weaken zombies before removing their heads with a bedazzled chainsaw. Is this game just Buffy the Vampire Slayer with zombies and slurs? That might actually be what James Gunn's intent was. While Lollipop Chainsaw has a lot of different factors that change up the gameplay, so it's not just mash square, hit triangle, kill a group of enemies. Honestly, if Lollipop Chainsaw was actually just 2 hours longer, no one would like it. But it does do enough to change up gameplay, from chainsaw running segments, running across rooftops, slaughtering zombies, using a gun to protect your boyfriend while he plays baseball with other zombies, and having cool and unique boss fights with great voice acting all around. This is what pushes you forward so you can see the ridiculous bullshit that's going to happen on screen. It's all great. Grasshopper Studios honestly hurt this game more than anything else. And I don't like saying that. I actually like Grasshopper Studios. And I like hack and slash games. I did enjoy the gameplay, but it doesn't do much. It's never going to offer anything at the level of a Devil May Cry or a Bayonetta. There's no real challenge. You just smash square, hit triangle, zombies die. Maybe there's a gimmick of a zombie with a fucking piece of dynamite shoved up his ass running at you, but there's no flavor, no challenge. Just keep playing, get to the next section, laugh at the dialogue, meet a new character, kill a boss, laugh at the new section. My final thoughts on Lollipop Chainsaw are, this was a game that I really wanted to play back in the 2000s, but I passed up on it, ultimately because there was like 100 other games just like it. But now, games like this are a rarity. While the remaster is rough and it sucks that some of the content is missing, I still had this feeling of nostalgia. I know it's not for this game because I never played it, but this time period where games like this weren't shunned, they were celebrated, even if it didn't do well. For all its mistakes, Lollipop Chainsaw for me was like drinking a bottle of water that you left in the freezer, but you got to it right before it turned into ice. That's to say, Lollipop Chainsaw was refreshing to play. In an era where most classics are honestly just being ruined, some of my all-time favorite games are being turned into shit. It's nice to see even a bad remake, at least, honestly, I don't know if I can recommend this to anybody, but if you're somebody who doesn't agree with the censorship bullshit, helping the devs out helps us get more games like this. If not now, at least in the future. But I can't recommend it because of the gameplay. It might actually be better just to watch someone do a let's play of it. And I don't like saying that. If you like this video, like, comment, if you want to see more content on this channel, like, comment, and subscribe. I do have a membership, and I think you can do Super Chat to support this channel. Thank you, and go out there zombie hunting, guys.